What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Now, if you're not a returner, it's all good, no worries. Welcome for the first time. My name is John Michael, and I'm a visual branding architect. Now, all that means is that I help people further their brand through visuals. So today I want to talk to you guys about my top 5 apps for editing photo. If you follow me on Instagram, which everyone should be following me on Instagram, you know that I'm posting more and more about not being intimidated by expensive cameras. I think that sometimes as brands we feel like if we don't have expensive equipment or the latest gear, then we can't capture good content, and that's just not true. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are some features and capabilities that more high-end gear will give you over, let's say, an iPhone, but that's no reason to not create content. And actually, with the right lighting, good placement, and some editing, you can take some pretty good pictures with a phone. So here it is, in no particular order, my top 5 picks for apps to edit your photos. All right, we're gonna kick it off with my absolute favorite, and that is Lightroom Mobile. I use this app for just clean editing. From upload to expert, you have pretty much complete control over every parameter of your edit. In the light section, you have control over every aspect of exposure. By sliding the exposure dial, you can adjust the overall brightness of an image, but you can also zero in on specific parts of the exposure, such as the highlights, the shadows, the blacks, or the whites. And this comes in clutch. Now in the color section, you can adjust the overall temperature and tint of an image, but what I love most about this section is the selective color adjustment. This is where you can select specific colors in an image, change the color itself, the lightness, or the saturation of that color. Also comes in super clutch. There are so many other features in Lightroom, from vignetting to grain to noise reduction, sharpening. You can even change the geometry of a picture. Like I said, Lightroom is a place for clean editing, and this is where I start editing every picture, every time. All right, so next up we got Darkroom, and Darkroom is pretty much the same as Lightroom. Guess that's why they call it Darkroom. I just got that. So once you've imported your image into Darkroom, you can begin making edits with the lighting. The exposure, for instance, is pretty much like Lightroom. You can adjust the overall brightness or control the individual pieces of exposure. Moving on to color, you can adjust the overall temperature and tint, as well as selective colors. There's even a section where you can add effects such as split toning, sharpness, and grain. But what I love most about Darkroom is their filters and borders. Darkroom comes with a few free preset filters, as well as filters that you can buy that will allow you to begin to set your brand apart. Filters are great for people who want a consistent look but don't want to spend a bunch of time editing. That way you can slap a filter on and go, and your brand still begins to take on an identity of its own. Borders are great too because they can add a different aspect ratio to your images that once again can just set you apart from other brands. All right, number 3 is Afterlight. Once you've imported your photo into Afterlight, you can tune the image. You can make adjustments for the exposure, for the shadows, for the brightness. But for me, Afterlight doesn't offer as much control as I would like. The adjustments are very basic, but I think that that's something that could be very helpful to someone who may be just beginning in photo editing. Afterlight does include other very standard adjustments such as crop, and they even include their own section of pre-made filters. But here's what I like most about Afterlight. Afterlight has the dopest dust and light leak filter packs. So for people who want to add that 35mm vintage feel to their images, Afterlight is perfect for you. Now, some of these filters are gonna come free, and then some of them you do have to pay for. But all in all, I think Afterlight is an amazing tool to have to add a vintage feel to your brand. Oh, and they also have like really cool borders, like really cool. Like you can add letters to it. It's really cool. All right, so number 4 is Afterlight 2. Now, Afterlight 2 does come with a one-time fee of $2.99, but I totally think it's worth it. For that $2.99, you're gonna get more intuitive adjustment controls. You can control like the shadows, the highlights, the blacks, you can control everything for that. You also get touch tools, which allow you to touch certain parts of the image and only put the effect on the part you touch. In addition to the legacy filters, you get a whole new filter pack. Plus, you can now save your filter presets. This definitely comes in handy for people who want to create more continuity in their brand. If you want your brand to be represented with a similar look in every single post, then this is for you. Because now you have all of your presets saved. It's easier, it's just easier. They've also made some changes to the effects section, and this is awesome. In the effects section, you're gonna find light. They have an entire catalog of light leaks, and you can control the color of the light leaks and how much light is leaked. It's amazing. They have a color shift section, which creates this kind of like 3D-ish color thing. I don't know what it is exactly, but I really like it. It's definitely like kind of stylish. It's pretty dope. A chroma section, which is pretty much chromatic aberration. It's like adding a prism to the outlines of your picture. And they have double exposure, and all double exposure is taking two images and superimposing one on top of the other. I'm pretty sure you've seen this before. Yeah, they got that. All right, number 5, last but not least, is Snapseed. If you want your pictures to go from this to this, Snapseed is what you want. In addition to the regular tuning of images, so that's exposure, contrast, saturation, perspective, things like that, Snapseed has an awesome selective brush tool. Now when you're using this tool, you can select different parts of the image and only apply your adjustment to that part. A little pro tip here, I'll use the brightness and saturation selective tool to get the whitest of whites in my pictures. Now like I said, Snapseed is nothing to sleep on. They still have a comprehensive selection of tools such as filters like grain and grunge. They have all kinds of tools to make your image better, but for me, I use them to get the whitest of whites in my pictures. So there you have it, my top 5 picks of photo editing apps. I hope this has helped you guys out. If it has, make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit that little notification bell thing because it's gonna let you know when I, drop a new video. As always, I'm not good at goodbyes, so see you guys later.